The spokesman for the minority party is saying that Laken Riley's death and migrant crime is not an actual issue. I can't frankly believe that I am hearing these words. You said it's not an actual issue. I read you the quote.
Laken Riley's death was not an actual issue.
You said that the murder of a nursing student in Georgia has a lot of people on the right talking about migrant crime. You put it in quotation marks, square quotes, like it's an actual issue. She's dead because of migrant crime, right?
Senator Josh Hawley absolutely dismantles a Democrat witness who claimed that migrant crime and the murder of Laken Riley weren't actual issues deserving serious attention. In this stunning Senate hearing exchange, the witness admits he advised senators to vote against the Laken Riley Act, which would allow deportation of criminal illegal aliens. Watch as Hawley honors the memories of Laken Riley, a 22-year-old nursing student murdered in Georgia, and Travis Wolfe, a 12-year-old boy from Missouri, both killed by illegal migrants who were unlawfully paroled into America. The senator, a former prosecutor, methodically exposes the witness's outrageous positions and delivers a moral argument that every American needs to hear. Key moments include Hawley reading the witness's own social media posts dismissing migrant crime, revealing that 0 criminal aliens should have been in the country, and expert testimony proving the Remain in Mexico policy actually saved lives rather than cost them. This is border security debate at its most raw and important. Senator Hawley proves why the Laken Riley Act is absolutely necessary and why American lives must come first. Let's dive into the main video.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thanks for calling this hearing. Mr. Isaacson, if I could just start with you. In March of 2024, you wrote, "The murder of a nursing student in Georgia has a lot of people on the right talking about migrant crime like it's an actual issue." That'd be Laken Riley you were talking about?
Laken Riley was an unusual case.
Yeah, here, let's have a look. Here's Laken Riley.
Yes.
Her murder, her horrific murder at the hands of this illegal migrant who was also unlawfully paroled in the United States. Her death not an actual issue?
It's a tragedy.
But not an actual issue?
Migrant crime is much less of an issue than U.S. citizen committed crime.
Not an actual issue? Those are your words. Her death, not an actual issue. I just want to get, no, you say.
Of course it's an issue. It's a tragedy.
So what do you mean by your post? It's not an actual issue, meaning we shouldn't be paying attention to it. Senate's wasting its time this week on the Laken Riley Act that would address the circumstances of her murder. What's your advice to us? We just discontinue those proceedings now?
I think the Laken Riley Act could do a lot of harm. It would allow me to say, oh, this person shoplifted, and that would be enough probable cause to get somebody deported.
Interesting. You're here, who invited you to this committee hearing today, Mr. Isaacson?
The minority party.
Yeah, it's interesting. You're here as a spokesman for the minority party. I just want to make sure the record's clear on this. The spokesman for the minority party is advising the Senate that the Laken Riley Act is a bad idea and we ought to stop it. The spokesman for the minority party is saying that Laken Riley's death and migrant crime is not an actual issue. I can't frankly believe that I am hearing these words. You said it's not an actual issue. I read you the quote.
Laken Riley's death was not an actual issue.
You said that the murder of a nursing student in Georgia has a lot of people on the right talking about migrant crime. You put it in quotation marks, square quotes, like it's an actual issue. She's dead because of migrant crime, right? Let's try something else. Here, do you know who this is? Do you know who this young man is?
I do not.
Travis Wolfe, 12 years old, from my state, murdered by an illegal migrant who was also, like Jose Ibarra, illegally paroled by the last administration.
Is your expectation that zero migrants?
Let me tell you what my expectation is that those who commit crimes in this country will be appropriately dealt with. Absolutely. And that we should not be allowing migrants who commit crimes into this country, and that, yes, migrant crime that kills people like Travis Wolfe, whose death was shocking, whose death is inexplicable, indefensible. I actually do think, yes, I think it's an actual, wait a minute, it's my time, Mr. Isaacson. I actually think, and I want the record to be clear on this, that migrant crime is a real issue. I think the Laken Riley Act is absolutely necessary. In fact, I propose an amendment to the Laken Riley Act that will cover people like Travis Wolfe. I think that ICE ought to be required to detain those illegal migrants who commit violent crimes against children, like Travis Wolf. And yes, I happen to think, as a former prosecutor, I happen to think that their violent murders are actual issues. And the fact that you would say otherwise, sit here and advise the Senate that the Lake and Riley Act is a bad idea, that the whole thing is not an actual issue, it's all what, made up, I think is outrageous. I think it's absolutely outrageous. And the fact that you were invited here to give this testimony is stunning to me, I have to say. Absolutely stunning to me.
Senator Josh Hawley's performance in this hearing was nothing short of extraordinary, representing the very best of what congressional oversight and moral leadership should look like in America. In an era where too many politicians speak in carefully crafted talking points and avoid taking strong positions on controversial issues, Hawley stood as a beacon of clarity, courage, and unwavering commitment to American victims of failed immigration policies. What made Hawley's questioning so powerful wasn't just his prosecutorial skill or his command of the facts, though both were on full display. It was his genuine moral outrage at the injustice of having a witness sit before the United States Senate and dismiss the brutal murders of American citizens as not being actual issues. That outrage wasn't manufactured for the cameras. It was the righteous anger of a public servant who understands that his first duty is to protect the people he represents, not to accommodate the sensibilities of those who would minimize their suffering. Hawley's decision to display the photographs of Laken Riley and Travis Wolf was a masterstroke of advocacy. These weren't abstract policy discussions or statistical analyses. These were real people with real faces, real families, and real futures that were stolen from them by criminal illegal aliens who never should have been in the country. By forcing everyone in that room and everyone watching at home to look into the eyes of these victims, Hawley made it impossible to hide behind euphemisms or dodge the human cost of failed policies. The senator's background as a former attorney general and prosecutor was evident in every aspect of his questioning. He didn't allow the witness to evade, reframe, or deflect. When Mr. Isaacson tried to walk back his inflammatory statements about migrant crime not being an actual issue, Hawley immediately produced the receipts, reading back the exact words and demanding accountability. When the witness attempted to interrupt or explain away his positions, Hawley firmly but respectfully reminded him whose time it was and pressed forward with his line of questioning. This is how cross-examination should be conducted: direct, evidence-based, and relentless in pursuit of truth.